to open up the stream by saying your glasses look like they're virtual reality, like they've been added on, like they're a filter.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
they have this certain image quality to it that makes it look like a filter.
Ah, no, they're
Yeah.
real. I'm actually touching them.
Right. Yeah. No.
Click,
It's
click, click. That's so
that,
cool.
I thought of that because when we first came on, you didn't have your glasses on, and then I went and clicked and made sure my settings were correct so I could join the call. And by the time I had done that, I looked up and you had your glasses on. And I was like,
Yeah.
"Is that a filter?"
Yeah. Da, 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 da.
So as we were saying before we went live, you have the I don't know if I want to call them jitters, but you've got the pre-trip anxiety, the pre-trip. I guess jitters is probably the best term for it because it's not really anxiety. It's just that built-in nervousness before you go on a big trip.
Yeah, I need to get rid of it. I need to be like, this is going to be the greatest time of our lives. You know? I really do. I really just need to like calm the F down. But yeah, I think,
G. James B is here.
Yeah. I think, well, one, I don't like the long haul flights are like, you know.
Are you flying direct to Japan from LAX?
Yeah.
Which airport? If you don't mind.
Oh, Haneda.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
mainland Japan basically has three major airports. There's Haneda, which is their international airport, Narita, which is their domestic airport, and Osaka, which is an international and domestic airport.
Yeah. So
Osaka's anyway, on an island, man-made island.
I think I'm just nervous because we're boarding 7 and he's in great hands. But the last time we went internationally, he got sick and all this stuff. I was like, oh. So
yeah, he ended up with a kennel cough, right?
Yeah, and pneumonia. Yeah. he's all like over that now. Like, you know, I mean, I'm not too worried about that stuff. But
last time he went in with a broken toe, right?
Exactly. And now he's like, it's a totally different situation. So, and he knows everybody that's there and his trainer, like it's a whole different thing. So I think I'm just like PTSD. And then I just feel like I'm not really prepared, but I don't really feel like I need to be. I'm almost all packed. Believe it or not, this is the first time like I've got everything in my bags except for toiletries. I'm like, whoa. Oh, you know, we'll still have another day. So I am going to be like positive. This is going to be so fun. It is going to be so fun. Once I get there and I sleep, you know what it is? I just want to be able to like have like full night's sleep. And I know I don't get it on the plane. And I'm like, I hate that feeling where you're just like, and then I have to stay up, right? So we land at 3 p.m.
And you gotta stay up for another 5 hours.
At least, at least till like 8 p.m. You know how that is when you
try
go
to force the circadian rhythm. Yeah.
I gotta get. So basically, the best thing to do is go outside and walk, you know, and just like see stuff. And the weather is gonna be beautiful, supposedly like 70 degrees.
And you're going right at the equinox too, so it's like the best time to go for the purposes of
the sun and
the circadian rhythm, because you're gonna go. It's gonna have basically the same day-night cycle that you have here, just on a time shifted space. Whereas if you went in the wintertime, you'd go there and there wouldn't be as much light. Or if you went in the summertime, it'd be a lot longer day. Because you're changing not latitude, longitude. You're changing longitude.
That's the way to be. That's the way to think. Like, oh my God, this is the best. So I'm just like, it will be. I will be coming back with lots of photos and all that. So it's going to be great. I think once we get there, it'll be like, we're here. Ba-boom, you know?
Yeah.
Also try not to overpack. And then I'm like, but the problem is the weather is, I wish it was consistent, but it's not. So, and it changes. Oh, sorry. I was looking at place. It changes all the time. So it'll be 70s when we get there. And then next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the next weekend after that, it goes to 50s and rain. So I'm like, okay. So I got my raincoat, you know. I'm going to bring my pea coat because the the nights are kind of cool. You know, even though it's 70s, it's going to be in the 40s, I guess. So
Yeah. Yeah, Japan's funny that way though. Their temperature swings can be kind of crazy when you're switching between seasons, going from the winter to towards the summer.
Yeah, because spring is
vice
today,
versa.
right? Like yesterday, today is spring, right? So we're here.
Yeah, today's spring equinox. So
Yeah, so we're in that about to transition, you know. So
Yep.
it's all good.
I mean, meanwhile, we just got our first real snow of the year.
You did finally, because remember
4 days
last
ago.
week? Last week you were like, we haven't had any snow. We're like, what?
Yeah, so we didn't get like a big snow. We got like 36 hours of the faintest snow ever that accumulated to about an inch. So it was like the slowest inch of snowfall ever, and now it just didn't want to go away. So now it's just hanging out.
It's just here. You don't think it's gonna melt anytime soon, or
I mean, the sun's been out last couple of days, and we're sitting in the low 40s, so it's not going to last forever. But if you're in a good bit of shadow, like right outside my office window here, this is the shadowy part of our yard. This snow will probably be here for another couple weeks. It'll just slowly melt away.
okay.
But yeah.
Uh-oh. I'm losing you. Is it me or you, Amos? Can you still hear me, Amos? Uh-oh. You're kind of like, I can't even hear you right now. Do, 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 is what I hear. Are you back?
Hello.
Yes, now I see you. I hear you. Was that me or
No,
you?
it's me.
Oh, okay.
It's me. My internet, like, I don't know what I got to do to get the internet people up here to work.
Okay.
That marks 2 times, so I can actually call them later tonight and be like, hey, fix this. So they have it at 102 and now at 114. They keep trying to tell me it's my router, and I'm on my 4th router since I've been here, and I've had the problem the entire time. Hey, Sarah.
Sarah!
What's up?
How are
How's
you?
it going?
It is going.
Are you all packed, Eileen?
I think so, except for like toiletries and stuff, like stuff that I need to.
You kind of do that last thing, after you take your final shower before the plane.
And then chargers, stuff like that for my phone, for the backpack that I'm going to have on the plane. So.
I like your glasses. They're so cute.
Thank you.
Are they new?
Thank you very much. No, I've had them for a while.
I like 'em.
But I don't, I wear contacts usually, but because it's spring, my contacts, they're disposable, but they don't last as long during spring because my eyes are just like.
I have the same problem. Yeah.
So I have to get rid of them
They start to get
sooner.
kind of itchy or kind of even blurry.
Yes, yeah, and it's so annoying. And I'm trying to like stretch this pair out, and I'm like, nope, I might as well just wear my glass. I'm gonna wear my glasses on the plane anyway, but I might as well wear my glasses, and then tomorrow or
they're very cute.
Whenever in Japan, wear the new ones. So
I've never been able to get the square look work for me. I just look weird, but they're cute. They're cute.
Thank you. I think I just kind of I bought these online, and I thought I want to try these. I think I'm gonna like the way they look. Oh, and they had some virtual thing where you could see put your face here and then let's put the glasses in. And I'm like, you know what? It looks okay. And then I took a chance and then got it in. I'm like, okay.
I usually just end up going to, this is sunglasses when we're talking about styles, but I'll just walk into a store and just be like, all right, fine. Yeah, I like these. And the person's like, what if you want to try the next 14 new styles we have? I'm like, nah. I don't. I like those. That's fine.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. Well, I know we've got hard outs today.
Yep.
Everybody busy. Eileen, I added a couple things in here.
Sounds good.
So I figure as long as we get to the break before I have to bounce, then once we hit the break, I'll go ahead and bounce. That way you guys know when I'm not here.
Okay.
So you just need to hit the break before the hour, and then I'll bounce after the break, and then Eileen can shut it down. Or actually, Eileen, are you logged in?
No, I'm not
You're
logged
not logged in, are you?
No, I'm on Firefox. I don't log in at the same time.
I mean, we'll hit the break before the hour.
Yeah.
I think. But just in case.
Okay. Well then, Eileen, you have my number, right? Well, you both have my number, so you can just text me and I'll keep the window open even though I bounce out
Okay.
to the other studio because I've got both of them open right now. Just text me when your guys are getting ready to shut down, and I'll bounce back over here and monitor so I can hit the closing music, and after that I can
Okay.
just jump off.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds
Okay, so-
good.
All right.
So there we have the plan. We just need to hit the break before the hour so I can concentrate on the other side.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Takes a village. Takes a village.
Look, especially around here. All right, with that being said, I will get the heck out of your way.
All right. Well, it's showtime.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. I will count myself in. In 3, 2. It is another edition of Apple Vision Show. It's episode 53. Eileen Rivera and I are happy to talk Apple with you, as we always do. Eileen, how you doing?
I'm good. Happy spring equinox, as I was just told from Amos, our producer.
That's so funny. On
Yeah.
DTNS Live, just a few minutes before we started recording this show, we were all like, when does spring start? I don't know. Pretty soon. Maybe it already has started. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So here we are, new season. Very excited. It's nice and warm here in Southern California.
It sure is.
but it's
although
different.
you're about to take quite a trip. Although
I am.
maybe not a totally different climate, but
Yeah, it's we're going to Japan, and I've been before. Love the country, and it is a little bit. It's going to be like in the 70s when we get there, but then say a week from today, it might drop to the 50s and rain. So it's kind of, you have to kind of prepare. It's going to be beautiful, and then it might be cold. So it's still, when you're transitioning from season, like the world doesn't know what to do yet.
totally,
In fact, Tokyo just had snow 2 days ago. I was like,
Oh, no
what?
kidding.
Say what?
Oh.
It was like a bizarre thing. So
Well, I feel like the cherry blossoms will be even cooler
I hope
from
so.
that. I don't know if that's true. I don't know how these things work, but
I don't either.
But I know you're going at the kind of the front end of the season, and
Yeah.
I'm very excited for all of you
I
to
will
see that, because
show-
it is something to see.
Yeah, I've never seen it before. It was my first time seeing cherry blossoms, even though I've been to Japan. I've been to Japan in Christmas and in the hot
and people,
summer.
and people always say like, well, I mean, my parents have a cherry blossom tree, or like, I know what a cherry blossom tree looks like. It's like, you don't know cherry blossoms like this though.
Okay.
It's like 1,000 of them in a park where you're like, oh, wow. Okay. Cherry blossoms. It's just really cool. Well, that's fun. We are, we're doing our show. Eileen's leaving tomorrow, so she is, packed up, ready to go, but still committed to talking about Apple's vision, which we do on every episode. So let's start with some news. According to some new data from research firm Ookla, Apple's new C1 modem, that's in the iPhone 16e, the new one, Eileen, is outperforming Qualcomm's modem in certain key areas. For example, a low signal condition, faster median download and upload speeds, if you are an AT&T or Verizon subscriber. Now, not everybody is. And in fact, even in the US, T-Mobile folks say, actually, Qualcomm's modem in that iPhone 16 is clocking faster top speeds and better medium speeds. So it sounds like it is what provider you have, your mileage may vary. Overall, though, the C1, and this is, the 16e is the first iPhone to have the C1, is showing pretty good real world performance, especially where, again, connectivity has been an issue in the past.
Wow. So if you're looking, or, we talked about the 16e for a while, and when it was announced, and maybe this is more of a reason to get one. Yeah. If you're on Verizon and AT&T, right? T-Mobile. T-Mobile.
The T-Mobile situation, I mean, who knows? This could be some sort of, change a couple buttons, fudge a few things, and everything's up and rolling. But yeah, this is a good first benchmark test for the C1. I expect that the C1 is going to end up in a lot of other Apple products. or some version of the C1 that's even better. But yeah, the 16E sounds like it is a pleasant surprise when it comes to connectivity. And again, for those living in urban areas where you're like, connectivity, not really that big of a problem. For a lot of people it is.
Right.
It's an ongoing issue. In fact, this is not really Apple related, Eileen, but in my apartment, because my apartment is sort of narrow and long, so where I am in my office and my bedroom, I mean, it's not like a million miles away, but they're on opposite ends of a narrow a narrow apartment and also an old building. And the connectivity in the bedroom, if you're on Wi-Fi, if you're on 5G, it's fine. But if you're on Wi-Fi, is like just abysmal because it just can't go through all the walls.
I see.
Well, anyway. So yes. If you're one of those folks and you either have a 16E and have something to tell us about it, we would love to hear about it. But if you're on the fence, then take a look at some of these benchmarks because it might push you in one direction or another.
Yeah, especially if you're watching big movies or I don't know, you just need to get things faster. It sounds like this is
we all like that.
Yep.
So good a good start out of the gate for the C1. And T-Mobile, I don't know what's going on with you, but Apple and T-Mobile historically have a pretty good relationship. So I assume that they can get that going pretty soon. But Eileen, let's move on to Pedro Pascal because I love him for a variety of reasons. The Last of Us being just one of them. Yes. But this is a commercial that you found that I hadn't even seen.
Yeah, and I saw a teaser a few days ago, and then last night the 5-minute commercial directed by Spike Jonze, and this is all about the Apple AirPods, and it's
like a 5-minute commercial. It's not like a commercial you would watch just on regular television. It's like a special one.
Yeah, and it's specifically talking about the active noise cancellation for the AirPods 4. Now, if you don't have the AirPods 4, you're not going to be able to, maybe experience the commercial like the way, they're telling it. But I don't have the AirPods 4, and I was listening to the commercial with these, and you could see what they're trying to do. When you're in active cancellation, you don't hear all the on the outside, but he just goes through different situations. He's in the cold, and there's people that he's walking past, and once he's in active mode cancellation, all of a sudden they kind of move to the beat. It's kind of funny, but you don't hear, everything else is drowned out, but the people that are moving are kind of like click, beat,
it's like
beat,
silent
beat.
disco for anybody who's ever done that.
Kind of. And then he gets into this, somewhat kind of Bollywood K-pop dancing later in the halfway through, and it's bright colors and everything. And, I'm not quite sure how to look at this other than it's like just a really fun way to demonstrate, or it's just a really fun ad, to be honest with you. So who would have thought that, Pedro Pascal would be dancing in some Bollywood type, dance. I don't know. Did you have a chance to watch it, Sarah? It's just really.
I did. Yeah. And so for anybody who's unfamiliar with Spike Jonze, I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. He started out as a music video director, and has directed a variety of I would say they veer on, the strange side of cinema. Adaptation, one example. Her, which is, Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson, who's an AI model. I mean, the list goes on. He does a lot of good stuff. Anyway, I say this all to say that it's a fun music video.
Yes, exactly.
It's kind of weird. You get the gist. But yeah, it's definitely like it's a short film is what it is.
Yeah, it's crazy they put so much money, it seems like it, for the iPod or the AirPods 4. I'm like, okay, they must be pushing this, super duper hard. Otherwise they wouldn't have had this amazing kind of commercial that's not really connected to any, announcement or anything like that. It's just, here's a commercial for the AirPods 4, and a long one at 5 minutes and 36 seconds. It's beautiful to watch.
It is. It really is. I encourage everyone who, has 5 minutes to spare, give it a shot, especially if you're a Pedro fan, and you know who you are, Pedro Army. But going, back to the fact that it is a commercial for the AirPods 4. I have the AirPods Pro 2, and I was sort of like, AirPods 4. I mean, I know when they were announced, it wasn't that long ago, but let's look at the specs, back and forth again. And I still do feel, and I think the sentiment is shared by most folks, that the Pro 2 AirPods are still the premium model. The AirPods 4 have noise cancellation, but are a little bit more of like, if you don't want to go pro, you don't care about spatial audio. There are, some bells and whistles on the Pro model that you're not going to get here, but it's still a very nice set of earbuds. Yeah, that's what it is.
100%. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just fun to watch this, and when is The Last of Us coming back? I think it's coming back soon. So
it is coming back soon. Wish I knew offhand, because I keep seeing promos on Max when I'm watching other things. But I going back to noise cancellation before we move on. Again, the AirPods Pro 2, which, if you recall, as we were talking about these probably about a year ago, not long after I moved into this apartment, I had lost my buds. I had lost the case, fell out of my purse, whatever. Yeah. Found them. Well, I located them at a neighbor's apartment, but I didn't know the neighbor, and it was just like a weird building. Like, I'm not gonna go knock on 20 people's doors. It's just you just sort of chalk it up to the game type thing. Yeah. Too bad. Got another pair. Love them so much. I will say that when I'm out and about, and everybody's different here, but especially because I'm in an area where, there's a fair amount of traffic and other people, and I like to know what's going on in the world when I'm outdoors. I don't use noise canceling. I use pass-through because I want good sound, but if somebody were to honk their horn, you would hear it either way. But just if there's some other something, that you should just be aware of. I like that. When I go to the gym, though, my gym happens to play just really loud house music. It just, you walk in and you're like, all right, I mean, if you want to listen to this, then you don't need to listen to anything else. That's it. But sometimes I'm like, no, I was listening to a podcast and I just want to finish it. And, this music is distracting. And if I have pass-through on, I mean, you can't listen to a podcast. I mean, I would have to crank it up so high I would blow my ears out. But when you go into noise canceling mode, I mean, it's remarkable how much it's not 100% dead. Yeah. But it's mostly dead as far as sound outside of your ears go. It's great.
Yeah.
So anyway, if anybody is kind of looking for new earbuds, I can't say enough good stuff about the AirPods Pro. Just don't lose them.
Don't lose them.
Yeah. Please don't lose them. All right. So Eileen, I tried this earlier, and I can't seem to replicate the problem, but it sounds like some folks are saying that SIRI, we'll just say that so that we're not waking up everybody's devices during the show, but can't always tell you what month it is.
And I know we've talked about how SIRI is just not there yet. But when I saw this story, I was like, once again, what's going on behind the scenes? Like, that is a simple request, why can't I get that right? That is so simple. And don't give me the, what I found on the web was. That would be even more insulting. Like, come on, this is supposed to, because I can actually type it in the web and find out.
The worst one is I'm sorry, I can't answer that for you. And you're like, what's wrong with you? Are you having a bad day?
I'm just asking you about the weather, which there's an app and I could look at.
Really easy one. Yeah.
So I just heard some rumblings that, there might be some investors or people in the company at Apple kind of, grumbling about, the speed of Apple Intelligence, meaning like, when is it going to do more robust things? But now it's like it can't even do a simple task.
Yeah. So okay. So and this story in our show notes comes from 9to5Mac, but they weren't the only people who wrote about this. So it basically a variety of users have said like, there's something wrong with SIRI. They, we're very, very simple queries are just confusing, confusing the model. Now, Apple is already in hot water. Over the fact that, a lot of people are like, not only were they not first, because they for sure weren't first.
Right.
But now it's like, the next version of, who is being delayed and what's going on,
exactly.
Lots of stumbling going on. And you could say, well, and I think as an Apple apologist, which sometimes I am, because these are my products, so I want them to work well and I'm invested. I'm like, well, they just want to like make sure it's good and, make sure it's like rock solid before, it comes out to the rest of us. And that's fine. That's fine to a point. But at this point, we have heard about the next version of Siri for going on a year. Well, okay, less than a year, but it's, it was sort of like not going to happen in the fall, but definitely in the spring. And now it's like, well, not ready yet. Who even knows why? Coming soon. And it's sort of like, all right, well, when?
Exactly.
And in what way is it better? Because at this point, I don't really know.
Yeah. Again, it cannot do basic tasks very well, or stumbles quite a bit. So that's kind of why I don't use it, to make it better. I'm like, I actually have been going to ChatGPT a lot more, just because it's like, well, I know I'm going to get, at least, 70% more of a response than I would get from who. So,
I was hanging out at a friend's house, recently, and they've got HomePods all over the house. I'm using Amazon's Assistant, in my house, although I am using a third-party Sonos speaker for those assistants. Although, no, there's an Echo Show in the kitchen. Anyway, I don't use HomeKit or SIRI as far as the, smart home assistant for no real reason. I just, I don't know. I picked Alexa once and that's what I'm still using. But I was at a friend's house who's all in on HomePods and HomeKit. And they've got like a larger house than me. And so there are speakers kind of all over the house. They've done a nice job. And it felt more seamless. I don't really know why. It's more or less the exact same thing. It's sure they'll give you various different answers, and when they don't have the answer, it's always like, let me see what's on the web, and it's like, oh my god, I could have done that myself.
I know.
But just for the purposes of our conversation, because I knew we were going to talk about it, I asked my watch, my Apple Watch, I asked my phone. And then I asked SIRI on my desktop that I'm, in the office with.
Okay.
All the same thing. Got the date. So for whatever reason, I don't know why people are not getting this information. I don't know if it's some sort of geolocated weirdness or just like some like rando hallucination that just happens to people sometimes.
Maybe it's like the pitch of, I always wonder, like, did I speak clearly? The pitch of my voice,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just weird, but I feel like the overall sentiment is that it's still disappointment, because, if it's this question or another simple question, it has failed, when other competitors have succeeded, so that's where it's like, okay, this is kind of like, what's the point, but I assume that it will eventually, who knows, next year at this point, Sarah, which is quite annoying, honestly.
It is quite annoying. Yeah, I mean, I hope it's not a year from today, but I don't know. There's part of me that's like, if you don't want a subpar product, then you hold it. That's what you do. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you give everyone the subpar product, then people go, "Oh, you suck."
Yeah.
You know, like you're not that great of a company, right? I'm obviously making this there's more nuance to it than just sort of like, oh, you unleash it now or unleash it later. But I get why Apple does not want to be seen as a company that put out a bad product.
Yeah.
That is not what Apple does. I mean, hey, it happens here and there, but it's less about being first and much more about being best. I get that. But in this AI world that we all live in, and you know, maybe you're not living in it, but you're going to be pretty soon. I mean, this is just life.
Yeah.
For Apple to be kind of like, yeah, we're still not ready. It's like, well, you better have something great cooking, because otherwise people just will move on.
Yeah. Technology is just, people really see something, gravitate. If it works for them, then that's it, right? They're there. And that goes to saying like, okay, well, people mostly stick with their iPhones, and maybe don't care about, AI, but when it just feels like the advancements in it just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And if the gap is so huge, that's not good. It really, really isn't, to be that far behind.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it makes you feel like some sort of legacy brand that sort of is like, well, they were cool at one point, and now it's just, everyone else is light years ahead of you. Speaking of SIRI, I will say this. So last weekend, my mom was visiting me here in LA, and we're doing a bunch of stuff. It was supposed to rain. It actually didn't, weirdly, but beforehand, I had sort of planned to do a bunch of things indoors. Because I'm like, we won't be able to like do hikes and stuff. It'll be raining, whatever. Like we'll go to a museum, we'll do indoor things. And, for that reason, even though it ended up not raining, we're kind of driving around the city to places that I don't necessarily go. So it's like, use Apple Maps.
Yeah.
Just like, not even because I don't know where I am, but like, just route me in the way that I won't get stuck in the most traffic. And as we were listening, my mom looks at me at one point and she's like, does she sound different? And of course, you can change different SIRI voices, but I just use the same one. I don't care that much. And I'm like, she does sound kind of different. Like she sounds more human. I don't know if there was some like very small something update pushed out in the last iOS update, because that's what it would be coming from. CarPlay is pulling from iOS, which is my phone. But I was like, it's very subtle. It's very subtle, but it's like slightly more human. I don't know if anyone else has heard that, and it might be, again, regional based. So I don't know.
Maybe I'll try, but hopefully she doesn't give me what I found on the web. I've kind of.
What month is it? I don't know, Eileen. What month is it?
I haven't spoken to her in a while. I just go, oh. Every once in a while, when I say my dog's name, Seven, okay, didn't happen. Or I shorten it, Sev. No, didn't happen. She tries to speak to me. Like that's not even. I mean, it's kind of close.
There is, yes, there is one when I'm on my watch, which, by the way, does not have cell service. I used to have it, and I was like, I don't need it because I always have my phone with me as well. Just it was just like an added expense. But every so often, my watch will just say out of nowhere, like, it's Thursday, 2:41 p.m. Where I'm like, what? Who asked you?
Okay.
I know. I'm wearing the watch, so not a thing I need you to tell me.
So it might have thought you wanted that or something. That's
yeah,
hilarious.
like there's some trigger that I have. I've woken up the beast, and I'm like, it's cool. I get it.
Yeah.
I know. It's Thursday.
Is it lonely? Is it lonely? Like it just like you haven't talked to me in a while.
Yeah, I'm a calendar.
I can do things for you. Mostly.
Well, all right. So we've got a lot of content stuff to talk about. So right after we come back from the break, Going to talk about Apple TV Plus, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So, Eileen, story comes from Bloomberg, but got a lot of attention. I'm sorry, coming from the information, not Bloomberg, although Bloomberg did write about it as well. Apple TV Plus, obviously the Apple's prestige entertainment arm, losing over $1 billion annually. You might say that's crazy, $1 billion. But remember, this is Apple. Despite reaching 45 million subscribers, so that's, the most subscribers that Apple has had on the platform to this point. Since launching in 2019, and I was trying to think to myself, like, in 2019, wow, there was no Apple TV Plus because I'm very used to it, but I also watch a lot of stuff on Apple TV Plus. So yes, 2019 was when it launched, just pre-pandemic. Had spent over the company had spent over $5 billion yearly on content. We talked about this on the show, I think late last year. Apple's starting to trim the fat a little bit, cutting $5 million in 2024. When you're in the billions, $500 million will make a dent, not a huge one, but it does. And reportedly, so says the information, CEO Tim Cook is questioning some really expensive deals. For example, Argyle. Reportedly, coming in at $200 million, but did not bring in enough subscribers to make that number make sense. Loss leader, so to speak. Yeah. If you look at Apple Services Division, if you're a finance person and you look at quarterly numbers, the Services Division continues to grow quarter after quarter. I mean, people are spending more money on Apple Music, News Plus, Fitness Plus, I don't know about Fitness Plus exactly, but it's bundled in there. iCloud Plus, definitely making some money. And a lot of people do take advantage of those Apple One subscriptions. We talked about this on a previous show, and Amos, I know he's in the background right now, but he was like, yeah, just make sure you know what's going on with the Apple One subscription, because if you're the one that sort of bundles everyone together, it turns out that, if people buy apps, that is your credit cards that they're buying the apps from, because it really is meant to be like a family subscription rather than a bunch of people being like, let's go on an Apple One subscription together, or just be really good friends, and have that all working out. But anyway, going back to Apple TV Plus, does not have a lot of market share. In the US, it is under 1% of streaming market share. So you think about Netflix, obviously number one. You've got Hulu. You've got Max. You've got, the list goes on of variety of streaming services that people can pay for. And I love Apple TV Plus, but that's because it has, my kind of barometer for this stuff is, if there's just one show that I like on a network, maybe I can just like watch it some other time, like I'll find it eventually, when it gets sold to Netflix, down the road. But if it has like two or three, and this goes back to, the earlier days of like HBO Go, it was like Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones was worth it for me. I didn't care about anything else, but you have a lot of like back catalog stuff too. And Apple TV Plus, and I was talking about this on TTNS Live earlier today, it's like there is no back catalog. I mean, there's a little bit, but it's like they're starting from scratch. And so it's like, if Apple says, we're going to be doing this for the next 25 years, and they continue to have hit shows like Severance, for example. Right. I mean, not everybody likes Severance, and it's not for everybody, but it's a very popular show.
Yes.
That is driving a lot of eyeballs to Apple TV Plus right now. In 25 years, if that is just one of the many, long running series that is part of your subscription, then that looks like HBO to me. Yeah. It's the same idea of like, I want the new show, but like also like maybe I, rewatch The Sopranos from the beginning. Like it's like there's so much content here, and it's good content. It's not like drivel. It's like really, good, like award-winning content.
Well, I mean, I think about it this way. Apple is a tech company first, products first. So this is not their main driver. They've dabbled into content now. And there are plenty of other companies we only do content and that's where all of their money goes to. Well, that's not really what Apple's doing here. They're dipping their toes in and they've got several successes, including an Academy Award film. So it's not, I don't think you slight it in any type of way. I mean, sure, I think what's happening is that there's just so much content to view right now. You still have to make the best strategic programming choices and buy the right, films. And this is where Apple's stumbling, just like others. Others are doing the same, but because Netflix is all content, well, they can stumble. They have this huge library. They've been doing it for longer. So Apple's behind only because they started later. And, this is not their main thing, but they're trying. And I think they've given us good quality stuff. Now, they could succumb to market pressure, at some point if they're just continuing to lose money over and over again. But I think we can't tell yet. And I think it's too early to be like, they're not, this is not growing because they've had so many premium hits and that's their priority. And if they just look at it as that kind of a vehicle, like, oh, we have a content arm and we only want the best stuff, then it's okay if they're not leading in those huge numbers because the business is bigger than just their content. But
exactly,
they may not be going after as many movies or TV shows as maybe they would have a year ago, right? They're going to be a lot more selective.
Well, and it's if you can't compare Apple TV Plus to Netflix, but for the sake of argument, let's do that. It's like on Netflix, it's like you can find this just random old sitcom that is going to take you like, I don't know, 6 months to get through, right? Because you're just sort of like, I don't know, like when I'm sort of out of other content and I don't want to be on the internet, I watch, the reruns of like, Boy Meets World. I don't know. I don't even know if that's on Netflix, but you know what I mean? And Apple TV Plus doesn't have that. It's just not the same. Like, oh, we've got all sorts of stuff that you might not even want, but we have it. If you're bored, you want to find something weird, like it's going to be in our library. And Apple TV Plus isn't like that. It might be like that at some point. And I was thinking earlier, because I knew we were going to talk about this. It's like, all right, well, let's say that and I have no evidence to, that this would happen, but let's say that Apple's like, you know what, great experiment. We're going to just wind down our services division. We'll keep iCloud Plus, Fitness Plus goes away, Apple TV Plus goes away. We keep music, News Plus. I think they make a fair amount of money on News Plus, but, just sort of like, let's shutter some of these, premium subscription services that we offered. I mean, that Apple TV Plus content is going to go somewhere. Apple's not just going to be like, let's burn it in a fire. It's like, no, they're going to sell it to somebody else.
Right.
And if they don't, then they're going to keep it. It's one or the other. So for me, I'm like, if it's not Apple and there's good content that lives somewhere, then sure, maybe it might be cumbersome to like find that other service, but it's not going to go away.
Right. And I can't remember. There was a report last week. There is a title. It's either a movie or a TV show. Apologies, I don't remember, but they are looking to shop it. They have content that they're shopping off of, to another network. So that's just the beginning. That was like one piece of content. That doesn't mean that they're only going to do that. So the content for Apple TV and the distribution might widen soon. So they're experimenting in there too. So, and we'll talk about it in a minute, but they are also bringing in the big guns like Jason Sudeikis to save the day.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. Ted Lasso, a lot of folks were sort of like, is it coming back? Is it just going to be like some of the actors? And I'm pleasantly surprised, and this is not a spoiler because it hasn't happened yet. You know,
Yeah.
we're all in this together here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, Coach Ted coming back.
He's coming back. And did I read it correctly, or did I read a joke that he was making that he may coach a women's team? Did he just make a joke on the podcast and that's not it? And he was just trying to be cheeky.
I did not hear that. I think that's a joke.
He was talking to Kelsey's, you know, the brothers, and I did not hear him deliver it. I just saw the quote, so I don't know. Apologies if you're like, oh, he was just kidding. But what if he's not? Do we know?
What if he's not? I mean, that would actually be kind of like, that would be a fun season 4 twist. You know, like introduce a lot of new characters, and also, you know, women's soccer, football, wherever you might be in the world, you know, is more popular than ever. That would be fun. Listen, Ted Lasso is captured the hearts and minds of many of us, and this was, I don't know. I mean, there might have been, well, The Mandalorian also, but, you know, Ted Lasso was like the big Apple TV Plus. Like, I know Mandalorian was Disney Plus, but I'm thinking of just that time during the pandemic, you know, where like certain, you know, people were just like glomming onto certain series.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso was like, wow, this is a big one. I mean, to the point where everyone I knew was watching that show. Now, was everyone I know an Apple TV Plus subscriber? Of course not, you know, because you go over to a friend's house and, you know, you watch the show, or you find it through other channels. But great show. Great show.
I mean, you know, to your point, when it aired, it was the feel-good series of the time that we needed, you know, and it's just so well written. The cast and the chemistry is so good, but it came at a time, I feel like, during COVID, where we needed some bright sunshine, and this was it. And, you know, the show, if you watch it, did have its ups and downs. I mean, he was dealing with, you know, stuff.
Yeah, it's a comedy, but it's like there's some heavy material in there, for sure.
Yeah. So I guess the one person still not wrapped up in negotiations is Keely, Juno Temple. She's the only one left. I'm like, oh, okay. But everyone else is on board, it seems like. You know,
this makes me very, very happy.
Oh,
and even if
because you want Roy to have a different girlfriend?
No. I'm not saying I'm happy that Juno Temple wouldn't be returning, but just that without Jason Sudeikis, it's like, sure. I mean, it would just be a different show, but like if you watch the show and you love the show, it's like, yeah, he's the main character, but everyone on the show is funny in their own way. It's like you could easily do like well, it depends on who's at the helm of the spinoff, but like spin the show off into, you know, other character stuff. Like you could do that. But the fact that it's going to be, for the most part, you know, the same core group of you know, heavyweights is very exciting for those of us who love Ted Lasso. And I know Apple does too. I mean, remember so after the first season of Ted Lasso, I don't even think the season was over yet. And so we're talking 2020? And no, 2019. No. I could look it up on the internet if I had any idea how to use the internet. But it was like, you know, a lot of people were just like, this is such a good show. I remember a friend of mine being like, oh my gosh, you have to watch the show. And I was like, is it about soccer? And he's like, yeah, but no. Yes, and no.
But no.
Just watch it. You know, not that I don't like shows about soccer, but I was like, oh, I'll get to it. Like, it's a sport show. I mean, it sort of is, but it like is, so much is not. And, you know, it's the best of both in every way. And just a lovable show. And Apple, you know, so many people were starting to talk about like, oh, Ted Lasso, oh my gosh, feel good. You know, people are wearing masks and quarantine, and it's just like, we needed the show. This is the show. It was a very well-timed entry into, you know, the TV market. And Apple, I think it was like their first, was it the iPhone that year? I think it was. And it was like Ted Lasso was, you know, because Apple always does like and you can watch some of our premium content on these new, you know, on these new iPads / iPhones / whatever. And it was like very Ted Lasso focused. You know, it's like the company knew that people loved that show.
Well, how do you feel about his son being recast? Because that was the big news. When I was looking up, like, oh right, let's put Ted Lasso in our lineup. All I saw was like big recasting of a key character. I'm like, well, his son was in it, but not all the time. And of course, it's his son. But apparently now the character is 12 years old and is skilled in football. So I don't believe, apparently, that the original actor may have been skilled in football, but was apparently invited to also audition for it. But in the end, they have recast his son. So,
which is what they do often. I mean, you have to, remember that the show sort of ended. I mean, whether or not it was ever going to continue. I mean, they did kind of wrap it up at the end of season 3, and that was like what, 2 years ago?
2 years ago, 2023,
yeah. So I mean, long enough for like a kid who's like 10 versus a kid who's 12, like is going to look like a different kid. I mean, we see that a lot.
Yeah. Well, and then the other spoiler is that the first episode is reportedly going to take place all in Kansas. So I guess we may not see Roy unless they visit.
Unless people come,
come to
stateside.
Kansas. Yeah, we miss you, Ted. We're just here. Or it's like some holiday and they're like, it's spring break, so let's go to America.
I can only imagine the like corny jokes about corn. Like, oh my gosh, look at all these fields.
That would be so fun if the cast went to Kansas just to visit Ted. Like they just missed them, or there's some event nearby at the, I don't know, somewhere, and then they decide to like make a road trip to see Ted, along the way. That would be so much fun.
I would love that too. I really would. All right, so Ted Lasso officially coming back. Eileen, this next finale. Okay, so I'm talking about Severance. I'm not even going to bury the lead here. So Severance, my favorite show. I watch it every week with a friend of mine who is like into it, but not as much as me. And, at the end of every episode, he's sort of like, did you like that? And I'm like, yes. But then he actually does more of like the deep diving, like, what did the Ringer say about it? What did all the critics say about it type thing. So he likes it. But we watch it every week. It's very important to us. The season finale is this next week. At the end of this weekend.
Yeah.
And no spoilers because we're not spoiling anything. And I wouldn't even know how to describe the show to you if you hadn't been watching it up to this point. So we're about to wrap season 2, and boy, is it bonkers! It is so bonkers. I don't even know. I mean, The White Lotus is bonkers in a totally different way.
In a totally different way. Oh my God.
Very different way. But Severance is just like, I don't know. It's like mind bender stuff. It's a great show. Kudos to Apple TV Plus for having the show on board. I hope it never ends. But I do hear a rumor that next season will be the last one because they can't do it forever. But I don't know. I hope I'm not. I hope I'm not wrong. But yep, this is going to be a popcorn situation over at the Lane household. Eileen, I know you're going to be overseas.
We are, yes. So we'll have to watch it in Japan. I think is what's going to happen.
Watch it, like whenever.
Yeah, we'll just watch it on my iPad.
Whenever is convenient for you.
I am on the trip. I'm bringing only my iPad and my phone. So, and I was dabbling with bringing my iPad keyboard, but I think I'm not going to. So,
just keep it simple. Well, because you're going to be doing so much like out and about stuff, right?
Yeah, we're moving to 3 different cities. So I just don't want to be lugging my laptop on top of everything else. So, and I don't know really how much I would use it. I think I can get away with just using my iPad and iPhone. So I will.
It's a good exercise to be like, you know, when you come back, you'll report back to us. Like, here's where I was like, oh man, I really wish I had the laptop, or I never really needed it.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
Yeah. So, or if the keyboard, with my laptop, with my iPad, it's heavy. Honestly, it's heavy, and that's why I don't want to bring it. Any added weight, I'm like, ugh. I don't want to do it.
I mean, if you were like, I don't know, there's like a bunch of, work back and forth that has to happen on my trip. Like, maybe there's a, time difference, but otherwise, like, I got to do some typing. I mean, I would bring the keyboard for sure, because otherwise I'd be so frustrated. But if it's more of like, check in, check some email, a little, light messaging to Sarah here and there, and, watching Severance. It's like, you don't like, leave the bulk behind.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in Japan where like space is, at a premium. So you can't really be like, having too much is not good getting there because you might end up bringing a lot back. Right. But I think, I was just looking, I can download the episodes. So,
and then you just watch them when you want to.
Download it. Yeah, I might be able to download.
I mean, the only reason that I watch Severance on, what is it, drops on Sunday? Or is that Thursday? I don't know.
I think it's Friday. I thought, isn't it Friday?
Well, yes. So I'm thinking of White Lotus. These are the two shows that I care the most about right now. White Lotus is Sunday. Severance actually drops at midnight Eastern on Thursday. So if you want to, on Pacific time, where, we are, you can watch it Thursday night. You just have to, you have to be committed. Otherwise, it technically drops on Friday. Okay. Well, anyway, as we wrap up this episode of Apple Vision Show, episode 53, by the way, look at us.
Yeah,
we're halfway through we're mid 50s. We're not halfway through our 50s. We're mid 50s.
Yes.
But Eileen, I hope you have the greatest trip ever.
Thank you.
Eileen is going to be out next week, and I guess the week after also.
Yes.
Yeah. So 2 weeks, and we'll, the rest of us will survive. We'll survive.
I wonder what big Apple news there will be,
Oh, there'll be Apple news.
There'll be something.
Somewhere, somehow. But in the meantime, we really do love getting your feedback. If you're like, do they really want to hear from me? Yes, we do. We actually really, really do. Feedback at applevisionshow.com is where to send your thoughts. If you have ideas for a future show, if you're like, you know what, show is really great and here's why, send it all our way. If you had a weird dream last night, send it. We don't care. Just fill up the inbox. It's always fun for us. All right. So Eileen, do fly safe with the fam.
Thank you.
Cannot wait to hear about all Apple products and how they work in Japan when you're moving around a lot, on a family vacay.
I will tell you all of the ups and downs and the amazingness. High speeds are in Japan, and I think I'm getting an eSIM card and all that stuff so I can just do my thing and not be interrupted. And
do your thing.
I got my Suica card that you could just load thanks to Apple Pay. You could just load it up and then, have your phone go beep on the train, beep in the convenience store. So much easier. So easy.
I mean, if there's anywhere, Seoul, Korea, probably, neck and neck with Tokyo. But
For speeds,
if there's any place where technology is embraced, you're going to that place. I am very jealous of all the ramen that you're going to be eating.
Oh my God, I cannot wait.
So please eat ramen in my honor.
I will.
I'm eternally grateful to have some in my own mind. But anyway, for everybody else, thank you so much for being with us as always, and we will talk to you next time.
I think I will add the ending myself.
Oh,
Amos had to go.
Like my kind of acapella version.
Amos had to go, guys, and so I will edit the actual real theme song on the podcast recording. So, yay! Thank you, everybody, for joining us again. Oh, I think eSIM is just numbers given to you to input, right? I have a website where I can just buy. Where is it? Oh my gosh. Thankfully, I have a husband who knows all of this stuff. Anyway, that you could have, 10 gigabytes of service or however you just pay, and it just, have a login and go.
Yeah.
Super duper easy. There's so many different, it's called Airlo. Airalo is what I'll be using. AIRALO. That's supposedly the best in Japan to use. And then you get a eSIM, and you don't have to worry about data. You can get, let's see, just for those who want to know, 20 gigs is $26 for 30 days. That's how much.
So it's just over $1 a gig.
Yeah. Yeah, and you can just reload.
I mean, if you're doing a lot of data, it's like you'll hit that cap, but yeah, I mean, to not have to worry about the, telco at home.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be, oh my gosh, back in the day,
I know.
it's like, oh my God, you go overseas and it's like this whole thing and you have to get, international data, and then you go over by like 1 megabyte and they're like, you owe us $200. It's like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. No,
Or you had to
things have
like
changed.
physically swap the SIM, which, you can still do on a lot of phones. But yeah, the eSIM is the way of the future.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's going to be Wi-Fi in most places, but I think, we did this in Korea. So, I had a Korean number and, it was just able to, I didn't have to worry. It was just like being at home, I had service and I was able to look at Instagram whenever I wanted, do my Duolingo whenever I wanted.
Right. Yeah. It just works.
It just works. Yeah.
Well, all right, Eileen,
all right.
I'm going to let you get back to packing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And everybody else, we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
I think I'm going to try and enter the studio. So I'm going to be doubled in just a minute.
You'll be doubled.
Yeah. And then I'm going to hit the cancel. Okay. How do I? Oh my gosh. Oh, end stream right here. Bye, guys. Have a good weekend.